Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. I'm not looking at myself on the screen. This has happened a couple of times where I don't have my camera updating properly. So let's just go into my live here just to make sure that I am live in this moment. And it says, upcoming. Oh my goodness, pop in, say hi, let me know that you've actually got this live today. We have 20 minutes to spend with each other. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're in. Everybody, we had this amazing word grace come across our path this week to work with. We've been working with it all week. And I'm not sure if I could say we. At the very least, I have been working with this word grace, looking at it in different perspectives, sometimes going back and looking at some of my own experiences in my own life and actually looking back and giving credit where credit is due, right? Lots of times we don't recognize those close calls as something that had an intervention. And I have to say, I have had so many interventions in my life. I suspect it would make most people's head spins. But in saying that, I have to recognize that there are people out there who have had excruciating, traumatic, impactful experiences that have left long and lingering issues in their lives. And I am grateful in this moment that, right, I feel I feel pretty good, right? I have my sense about me by my sense of standards, right? Because each one of us is playing out a different story. We are in that creation of the best human being we possibly can, creating literally the best human being we possibly can, knowing where we started and having an optimistic attitude and a dream of where it might lead. Everything else in between, right? Life is what happens to us while we are making other plans, and that's the truth. And I go down side branches in the search of those resolutions to problems that I may have picked up along the way. Sometimes I go down those side branches because in my own regret that I made a different choice. And sometimes you do get an opportunity to go back in and do it again. Those are the 360s. Sometimes you get partway down that branch and recognize that you've made a mistake, and it's just a little bit of a course correction in getting back onto that main branch. Those are the 180s. I do baby steps 100%. We're talking 45-degree angles or less, and it has worked out for me. Why? I don't know. Maybe I don't feel that incessant need that I am missing out on something, or if I don't get this done in this moment, that my world is over or the world is over, depending in the situation or the experience that we have in that moment. That's the breathing on the back of our neck. That's that 1 o'clock schedule and you're running 5 minutes behind. That's right. That is that hurry up, that mush, that not good enough. You did it again. Those are our failures, right? The graces are the recognition of those in that moment, so that you can already begin to tread water and to make different choices for yourself that might put you in a position where you could do a 45-degree angle rather than it all blowing up in your face and you find you've just done a 360, that you've gone full circle and you're right back where you started. But are you, right? You may find yourself in the exact same spot in that 360, but you've been there before. And in being there before, if you paid attention, if you put yourself into the experience, if you rode those waves, if in those small inkling moments where something came to you, you made a different choice, a better choice. It still blew up on you. You still find yourself in the exact same place, but you're finding yourself right in the same place that you did the last time starting out. But now you have tools. You know where you tripped yourself up. You know where others tripped yourself up. You know where life just decided to throw the wrench into that engine. And, right, in that moment of having that wrench and everything blowing up, right, we had to ride those waves. We had to make split decisions in the moment. And in making those split decisions, we made some good decisions. Sometimes we've dug deeper holes, but having that 360, it at least gives us an idea at the very minimum of what we didn't get right. And you got out of it, right? You got that grace of having an opportunity to do it again. But now we have a little bit of understanding, right? Of possibly where we got it right, where we got it wrong, possibly in that imagination and in those split seconds where we made a wrong choice. We had a plan B. We didn't pick plan B, but there was a plan, right? And this time in the 360, if plan A didn't work out, maybe it's an opportunity to try plan B, right? If that's where you feel that you got tripped up in it. And to each one of us, it's different in that experience that we're having. And that's an honest truth. And the very least that I can do is just kind of show up in that, right? Show up and possibly through the mistakes that I've made, show somebody else not what mistake to make, or in tripping up so many times that finally I got something right. And I've gotten many, many, many things right. And I have to keep reminding myself that I've gotten many, many things right. And today was a prime example. We've got 10 minutes before I have to run off to the job that gratefully puts the roof over my head, because I have been in my head, right? I often say, like, bouquet of helium balloons. When it's time for me to go back to work, I could easily float away, right? If I wasn't grounded in that graciousness of having that job. Because, oh my goodness, what a miracle. I would have been much further ahead, but emotionally, I might have been a little bit jumbled, right? Intellectually, I might not have taken in the lessons as well as I did, if I did well at all, because I have no bearings except in those great thought leaders and those great leaders and those great teachers and those great mentors and those great guardians, right? Those great experiences outside of all of that, right, got my interest, got my attention, and also offered up something for me that helped me move a little bit better, right? In this movement I'm trying to make, full of mistakes, full of problems, right? But I'm riding those waves and it doesn't seem so scary once I get going. And every time I fail and I have to do it again, and talking about doing it again, we'll go into that right now. This morning, I have my notes. I've had this book now for 40 weeks at least sitting in front of me, and I've been right? Every week, highlighting on a new word on Monday. I had no idea where I began. I knew where I was ending as I write. As we're moving through the words, there's not a lot of new words that we haven't touched on the sheet, right? There's more than the 54 words that we're picking, but we've been randomly picking these words, and I thought, oh well, these there'll be some words missed out. Maybe they won't be. Maybe that randomness was the sequencing of the lesson that I needed in the moment, the prerequisite for the next lesson. Said, oh, Cindy, you got to make a proper list. You don't even know, right? We're starting to write the cards out now, right? Right? There's these lessons, and then there's sharing the reward of those lessons. But there is that goal of making a deck of 54 cards, right? And that needs its attention too. But I had to redo the list. I needed to know what words we covered, what words we covered more than once, what numbers we were exactly on. And I thought we were on our 40th word. We weren't, you guys. We were on our 39th word. Somewheres along in this process, right? A couple of words we did again, and they didn't get their proper sequencing in the numbers. And right, it took me a while to get this. I can't even read my own scribbles, right? My own coffee drips on this sheet. My own, I don't know what that is. It looks like a cigarette burn. Right? It's just a mess, this notes. And right, it's time to get it all tidied up. Sometimes you got to make a mess. Quick look at the mess to clean a mess. And I'm started cleaning the mess. We are on our 39th word. But I thought we were on our 40th. So next week, and I won't tell you what that word is because in going back in all the videos, right? Seeing where I got things right, seeing where I got things wrong, I'm going to create my own little 45-degree angle, right? My possibly 90-degree angle. But I'm not right, I'm not doing a 180. I'm not doing a 360. I am redoing a kink that had come across my path in this process. And so our 40th word, just like the first and second word and the catalyst word that we had when we first started that, and I've forgotten what that catalyst word was, right? It was exactly the 180s and the 360s, right? That catalyst word we got that started the whole process was that word pivot, right? That led us into the word, right? Choices and change and so forth until, right? We are in this moment in our 39th word. I think the grace is, well, the stamina kept me going through all of that. My curiosity also kept me going in that because the sequencing was so in my face that how one lesson led into the next lesson. And also the fact that, right, it wasn't all fun and games and there was lessons in that, right? In that grounding of my beliefs and my understandings and the, right, the story in itself that I'm sitting here in the pushback, right? For me, I'm looking on the side. We're live. I got this, right? But understanding that the hiccups and the problems and the failures, they're meant to come into our life so that we can possibly make a better choice, that we can take a look at those choices that we did make and see if there was something that maybe we can adjust a little bit. Or if it's something we need to celebrate, that, oh my goodness, we got this now, that this is not going to come across our path, second and third time. We're only 15 words away from finishing this segment, this playlist, right? Then we'll move into something else that we are inspired, right, to move forward with. But I'm taking in the lessons. This is not just fun and games. I enjoy this, right? This is keeping my brand going. This is revealing myself in the process. This is showing me the evidence that I am not the grand all to be all. I am not the grand poobah, that we all have the opportunity to bring that magnificent to the table. And I don't know what that magnificence is in all truth, right? I'm moving forward, and what's coming across my path is what we're working with. This week, we're working with this word grace that has touched my life, that I think in some way has touched everybody's life. But whether or not we recognize it in the moment, whether or not we recognize its source, whether it's an event, an experience, or a person, or a lesson, right? A conversation, a connection, right? Gifts are passed between us in so many ways. And being in this digital age, right? I'm using the tools that I have picked up along the way to make a connection, if at all possible, and riding the waves, right? In the things that I don't understand and in the things I don't get right, and recognizing that a 180 or a 360, right? Or by my choice, maybe a little 90-degree or 45-degree angle, as many 45-degree angles if at all possible. We work in baby steps. Why? Because it works. It really does work, right? I'd much rather take in the experience properly to the best of my ability, knowing that my ability is not where it was when I started all this a half a dozen years ago. Well, I'm estimate, I'm not quite sure. Going back a ways, right? And how far in the future, right? That we move forward, that we continue to take in the lessons. I'm not that person either, right? But in this moment, the more course corrections, the more time that I put in to the understandings, I think the better I will do in the lessons, right? Coming up, that I'm not concerning myself in the moment with, because the prerequisites hasn't even crossed my path. So if the lessons themselves cross my path, right, it could be a Mack truck and I wouldn't understand it. I wouldn't get it, right? I need to do the baby steps. I need to do the steps up, but those steps up that I feel out, that I understand to be the next step, because I'm the one who has to ride those waves. That's my experience. And because I offer up this little piece now, that possibly it could be an experience that possibly in that experience of come and hang out with me in this moment, that you get to experience in your own way, right? And in doing that and making that kind of movement, maybe you avoided or averted the 360. Maybe you're not getting a 360. Maybe you'll get a 180, right? Maybe you'll get a 90 or a 45, right? Maybe you'll just get an idea and go on to the next idea. Lots of people move that way. I've moved that way myself. I still do in my moments. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. We'll be back tomorrow, the last day, working on this word of grace. Who's to say we have 15 words at least to come in and have chit chats about, look at in different perspectives, play with it in a different way, right? But in that, understanding there's only 15 words, right? We may have some of those words a second time around, right? Some of them by my choice, some of them just in the serendipities of how they come across my path, right? Knowing that it's come across my path for a reason. And whether or not that reason is just for this moment or for another moment, we don't know until we make that movement, right? Okay, you guys. That's my good cheer. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.